I'll send it to you. It's funny. And then there's two of them. I got another one too, like somewhere else. Or maybe it's another angle.
That's 5 or 7.
Well, that's one, yeah.
Yeah, it's another angle of it where it's hitting that car.
They got something in here. It's just a cool thing. I want you to be well.
I don't think I told you how much to do it. I see it. Wait. But, you know, whenever that starts, you start having to pay bills out of, you're going to be coming out of that fund.
That's what he said. Yeah. Might be able to hear it.
I got 5 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order after. Mr. Williams, will you say a prayer for us?
Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to come and to make decisions based on the best interest of our school district. We just ask that you give us grace and wisdom and guidance, revelations to make the right decisions for our students and for our district. We just give you all the glory and everything we can do. In your name.
Amen.
All right, call the meeting order at 5 o'clock. Okay, item number 2, consider previous month's board minutes. Comments, concerns, changes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve previous month's board minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Consider financial report and bills. Questions, concerns, comments?
What was the negative on the food service?
What?
What's the deal with the food service?
That's just where this month they ended as far
Is
as.
that the negative 15?
Yeah, I mean, that could be different next month, but I mean, that's just the running total of where we're at right now. Also, with anything on this report, there is no revenue shown on this at the time this was ran for the cafeteria or anything else. So that might have, I'm not gonna say it would have not been there, but it wouldn't have been negative 15, so.
I have a total operating fund of $615,000 and change, and a total building fund of $646,000 and change. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the financial report and bills from the previous month. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Communication to the board from Mr. Lane.
First of all, Ms. Jones had asked if it was okay with y'all if we just moved the loo to the very end. That way we don't have to move one time. If y'all are all good with that, we'll do that presentation before we leave. So we'll do that. But I don't have anything, unfortunately, new to report on the new AC in the gym. I did talk, I mean, like I always do, I called him and said, hey, we're in the process, y'all are, it's coming, and of course the weather, he didn't blame it, but I'm sure that's what they're gonna say if I really pin them down, that it's probably stalled some things in other meetings with school districts or whatever, but it's coming, we're getting there. What I am hoping, right, we'll say this, I may have said it last month, but what I am hoping right now is that a bulk of the work, maybe the way this timeline is working out, the way it's working out, possibly that the bulk of the work can be done over the summer months, maybe where we won't have as much disruption, you know, if there's one positive to come out of it. At least anything that has to be demoed and renovated or anything like that. Hopefully we can time that where, you know, we don't have students here. So, but other than that, I don't have anything really else to say or update on that. But it's in the works, and we know it's coming. We just need some help from those outside of us to get it in front of us. On the painting project, I think y'all can see that the bulk of that's complete. They are going to come back in March and do the dugouts, do some work still out on our outer buildings, and some new retaining wall things that we did at the baseball field and all, but they'll be back out to finish the dugout part in March. But as far as the bulk of the project, the main buildings, that's completed. And if y'all have any questions for me on any of that, I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you go over the calendar. But do y'all have any questions for me on anything?
Is that painting, I mean, is it still in the 84, or will it be a new bid? Or
It's still part of the original, yeah. Now, I will say, I did ask them, and I haven't received it yet, and I'll let y'all know. I did ask them about a few more little things here and there, maybe even about some more of the red that we've got around here to make it match, maybe possibly a little bit better. Don't know that it'll be something we'll want to spend, because, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty happy with the look of it. Looks awesome. It looks more cleaner and better, which was the hope. But when I get those numbers in, I'll tell you what those are. We can discuss them. But to answer your question, we still got work to be done, and they'll get paid as they go. Okay, chat.
Okay, so I gave you guys a packet there, just to give you a little bit of background on why we're proposing this. In the spring last year, when we talked about the calendar, Ms. Bennett had already drafted the calendar and given it to the PPC. So we did have a brief discussion about snow days, where we talked about adding, like, coming the Friday if we missed a day during the week. We did not discuss a scenario like what happened last week, where we missed multiple days in the same week, and then all of a sudden we're on the line for 4 or 5 now consecutive Fridays. So last week when we were out, the PPC was kind of talking amongst ourselves about that, and then we started getting messages from other staff members about possibilities of doing something different. And so we had kind of drafted a calendar, and then we decided, because we were hearing different things from different people, to put it out for a vote. So this first sheet that you see, we gave them the option to just leave it as is and make up the days consecutively. That was option 1. Option 2 was space the days out, but still get out on May 16th. Option 3 was kind of what we had drafted as the PPC, where we spaced the Fridays out and added a few to the end of the year. And then option 4 was space the Fridays out and use Monday and Tuesday of spring break as a possibility for makeup days. So those were the 4 options. You can see the breakdown of the vote. Everybody wanted option 2, but they also want to get out on time. So when we started looking at the calendar, our main goal, the teacher's main goal, was to get in as many days as we can before state testing, because if we start tacking those days on to the end of the school year, as far as instructional days for testing, it really does us no good. Yeah, it really is. And we had a lot of people that were like, why can't we just add them on to the end? And that was the main reason why. It's because by then our state testing is over. So if you look at January, I didn't know we were going to be out of school Monday yet. So today's day 5. But we made up last Friday. That was makeup day 1. Makeup day 2 would be this coming Friday. Then in February, we skipped to give us, and one of the reasons some people wanted to skip some Fridays is we have students that have jobs on Fridays. We also have some staff members that have jobs on Fridays. So we thought if we could skip a few Fridays, that would give people time to either work or make up appointments that they're going to have to reschedule. Also on February 2nd, we have a quiz bowl tournament at the high school, which has been on the calendar since October. And that involves a bunch of our high school classrooms and our staff members that are working it. So then we had 2 makeup days after that, skip a week, then you go to March, 2 makeup days after that, skip spring break, a makeup day after that. That takes us to 7. Then the next 2 we skipped because April 5th is prom, and then the 12th, we're already in school that day for the Eclipse Day makeup. So then the next Friday would be our 8th snow makeup day, and then we've got 2 in May. We only plan for 10. If we get more than that, obviously I think we're going to have to tack it on to the end of the school year. I don't think we'll have a choice. But this way, if we do this, people can at least plan for those days, or it's possible that we're going to be in school. And then if they need to make, reschedule appointments and things like that, that gives them some Fridays where they're like, okay, we know we're not going to be in school Friday, February 2nd. I can reschedule my doctor's appointment for that day. So that was kind of our thinking behind that. Our PPC members went in and added some testing dates that we knew about and things like that, just to make sure that none of that was going to be affected. Y'all have anything to add, PPC members? Do y'all have any questions about that or concerns?
I think it looks good. That was smart to do a majority vote.
Yeah, once we started hearing from people, we thought it's going to affect everybody's schedule. So we didn't want to make the decision without polling everybody and giving everybody a chance to vote.
I guess I'm confused. So this schedule doesn't really rely on what you're...
Yeah, so when we tried to make it every other Friday, we ran into some conflicts, like the quiz bowl thing and then spring break. We went back and forth on that. We talked about we could do it every other Friday that the month of March, but then we are taking the Friday before spring break, and we thought some people might already have travel plans.
Sure.
And then the same thing in April. The problem there was prom, and then the eclipse were those Fridays back to back, so we really couldn't do that. So yeah, it's definitely not every other Friday, but the calendar there was already some conflicts there that we didn't feel like we could avoid.
So you're proposing that this is the one that we go with and we vote on, this new one?
Yes.
Y'all-
Yeah, this one. And we met, Friday afternoon. The classified PPC, the members that could come came and certified, and a few of our administrators were there. We talked it over, and we talked about a lot of different scenarios, and we put dates in, and this was what everybody voted on and agreed on in that meeting Friday.
All right. The PPC voted?
PPC, certified and classified were both there, yeah.
My concern is when we approved this last year,
Yeah.
last spring, is that it was about education.
Right,
That it was about, we were going to make up our snow days on Fridays because we have that option, and we're very fortunate to have that option. And we wanted to get as many of those days in before testing.
right,
We can't predict the weather.
right.
So saying if we miss a bunch more days, we can miss 4 more days. We're already at risk if we miss those days to put education at risk as far as our test scores. I mean, if I remember correctly, that's what the main reason we wanted to go on Fridays consecutively.
Right, yeah.
I
And
feel
with
like
this-
we're steering away from kids now and steering toward what the adults want. What's our priority?
That's why we put in, we have, if you look, all the way up to makeup day 8 is before testing. So that's April the 19th. All of those would fall before state testing, and then
When's our first test? When's our first test date?
Karen?
March 4th.
Writing is in March.
Yeah.
Writing portion is in March, and then the other testing will be in April.
Then the other option would be to go during spring break,
Yeah,
to get them in.
yeah.
Well, the
Yeah, I
only
think we'd rather go on
option right
Fridays
now
than
is to
spring
go
break.
consecutive Fridays, and we don't have to make any changes. Right now, how many days do we have to make up?
We've got 5 right now.
And we made up
Well,
4.
Well, yeah, 4
Made up
more,
in.
4 more.
And we're scheduled this
But
Friday.
I will say the
Right.
other feedback from the high school perspective of student attendance was that our students were saying, if we're there every single Friday, we're not coming. I'm just being honest, that was the discussion that some of the teachers had with some of the students was, because,
Wow.
and multiple Fridays in a row.
In your email, you sent and said that the concern was staff and student attendance
Yes.
on those Fridays.
Yes.
If students don't come on school days that they're supposed to, they get counted absence.
Absolutely,
If
yeah.
faculty don't show up on those days, they can use their leave.
Absolutely.
The we won't come, we will come.
Right.
Wow.
I was just
I mean,
trying to avoid.
you know,
that's. Some of the teachers had appointments that were scheduled, and we were just trying to give people an option
I get
to
it.
reschedule.
I understand that. I don't want to say we built-in days, there's been a lot of discussion about built-in days. When we went to a 4-day week, a positive of the 4-day week was the flexibility of the Fridays and being able to use those for different things. You know, and that's good.
And we're still doing that.
and-
These are all still on Fridays.
Sure. And we have the flexibility to use those Fridays, and I think we need to use those Fridays, because that's the plan we put in place. We communicated to the public about the Fridays, about what our plan was going to be, and I don't think we need to change that plan and re-communicate to the public and change midstream. We made the calendar, we approved it when we did. If we need to revisit that and propose what we need to propose next year, then I totally get that. If we need to revisit and try to find some improvements on that, we've had our first snow event. I don't know how many more we're going to get, nobody does. Mother Nature didn't ask us about any of this. We have those Fridays built in. We intended to use them for that, and I feel like we should. I have today, I reached out to both principals, and I reached out to the superintendent for some input as well on their take on this, because I feel like I should. There are building administrators, and I respect their opinion. I got their take on it. And my take, and I'm not going to speak for them because they can speak for themselves, and to be honest with you, I'd like to hear from all three of you again so you can share with them maybe what we talked about. My take on that is we stick to the plan, we go on these Fridays. If we want to show some flexibility with this quiz bowl, I understand that's our junior high qualifier for something, for state, for regional or something. I get that, that's important to the kids, that's important to the staff members involved,
Well, I just wrote.
I'll go there,
Like
you know.
I'm writing these days down. If we go consecutive days and don't go on the quiz bowl day, right now for the days we have to make up, that's it. That's the only way to make up all the days we have before testing. If we go on the quiz bowl day, we would have one more option to make up before testing. Like I say, that from the meeting I remember last year, that's what this was about. And now what it's about has changed, which is alarming to me because it's not about our test scores and our education anymore. It's morphed into a combination of things. The way I feel is right now, like I say, like Chad said, I'd like to hear from the principals too, but if our goal has changed, and that's, like I say, that's what's alarming to me, and if we go consecutive days and go on the quiz bowl day, if that's possible, it gives us an extra day to miss a day between now and then. If we miss the quiz bowl day and take it off, right now our days are counted for in consecutive Fridays. We'll have all of our days of education in before testing.
When did you say the first test was?
March 4th.
5th or 4th.
So the way the calendar is right now, our makeup day number 5 is on March 1st. So that is before the testing.
Right.
Just to throw that
Correct.
out there.
That's with no more weather
If
events.
we miss a
Right.
day between now and then, which like we can't predict,
Right,
then we're after testing days.
yeah.
To me, it just goes against why we approved this last year. And then, I mean, the board, you guys bring it to the board, the PPC agreed to this, you guys presented, brought it to the board. We accepted that. I thought that was awesome. We're putting education and testing first. We get criticized. These 5 people get criticized on that and what we do. And we took the recommendation, and now we're backing up on that, changing and kind of dancing around something different.
Well, like I said, we did not, and you can go back all of our meetings, I have notes from all of them. We did not discuss a scenario like what happened last week, where we missed 4 days in 1 week. That was not discussed at all.
Right, but that happens, it happens regularly. We miss 2 here, 2 there. I mean, we've missed snow days in
We're not
April.
going to make the counter based off an assumption of one single snow day all year either.
No, and as I said, the PPC, we did not create that calendar. It was emailed to me. And there was one mention about snow days, and it was very briefly, we could use Friday. It never said consecutive Fridays. And if y'all need me to pull those notes, I can. We never said anything about consecutive Fridays. It was said we could use Fridays to make up those snow days, which is what is in this calendar. They're all Fridays.
But I
So,
think
I
that the
guess I'm not
PPC, I
understanding.
guess the PPC would agree that education days previous to our test scores is probably more important than wasted, I remember a conversation, wasted days at the end of the year, because
Right.
our kids don't get anything out of it,
Right, that's why we only have one built in at the end of the year.
As it is right now.
as it is right now, if we
Yes.
don't miss anything.
Yeah.
What's your take, Mr. Lane?
Well, first, I'd like to get the principal's take, because they're the first
Okay.
line of defense. If you,
Yeah.
I mean,
Stacy, would you like to start off?
And I will admit, when we voted, I did vote for the option 3, which was spreading out the Fridays. And then during the BPC meeting, that was, the majority wanted that. A lot of discussion about what days would work and this and that, and so at the end, no, I don't think anyone was totally satisfied
Right.
with the calendar. I mean, but it was
No.
kind of,
well, I asked if there was a vote.
right.
There was a
I
vote.
thought we didn't like
Right.
vote, but I think you asked.
Well,
about
before,
what-
as y'all walked out,
Okay.
the high school, the certified PPC was all there, and I was like, guys, we didn't like officially vote, and then we did it right there.
Okay, I walked out of that.
Yeah, and I have the recording, so I
Right.
can provide that if y'all need
Yeah,
it.
and the votes all over the place. I mean, it's still, you have
Well,
one,
I
you
mean,
have
and
Well,
that's
one.
we're
the
talking about a
thing,
committee,
like-
we're talking about a committee, I want to clear, I was
Yeah.
talking about the
The
two
PPC
the
vote.
2 committees that came together
Yes.
voted.
Instead of
that.
And we
voting
only
with
had the
school.
certified vote because that's the only ones that voted on the calendar to start with. So, but I mean,
But
you
this
guys
vote
have
is, this
the-
vote is everybody.
That, everybody that voted, there
Survey,
were
yeah.
60 responses.
Yeah.
So, and it went out to, Mr. Lane sent it out to everybody across the district. So not everybody voted, but yeah, it just, of the people that voted,
Classified and certified both had a
Yes.
chance to vote.
yes. Mhm.
Okay, but here's what I will say.
Yeah.
But after I got home that evening, got looking at, I think you sent the calendar after it was kind of updated, got looking at it again, got thinking. I'm just afraid we will have more snow days. And looking at the dates, I didn't realize how early some of that testing was, like in March. And I recall Miss Silly, I think, saying something about how many days since Christmas we've actually had with our kids. And when that vote was taken, I will say, a lot of people don't understand, and I'm not saying everybody, but like some certified, because even Sarah, my secretary, was talking about, she didn't understand a lot of understanding about, you know, these days before testing, that testing days are moved, this and that. And I'm not saying that we don't always need to get everyone's opinions on things, but I'm not sure everyone's vote is always necessarily thinking about the kids. Honestly, spreading them out Fridays, that was selfish on me. I mean, just because I prefer not to go over Friday as well. But when I really think about what's best for our kids, I think we just need to hit all the Fridays and get them. Because what if we skip some of those days, you know, day 6 and day 7, we don't have snow, and then it hits us again, and then we have to miss some more after we've already passed some of these snow days that we didn't even have to use. I mean, it has snowed in March and April before.
The biggest ones, usually in March.
Yeah, God forbid, it doesn't this year, but, so, anyway. I just think to get as many of them as we can before March, April, I mean. And no, I wouldn't want to go spring break, but I mean, I think just hitting those Fridays as much as we can now, honestly. It's just,
Mr. Williams?
I voted to go along and say just because that's just the way that I am. I would give them we're going to have. But going back to, I think everybody's going to look at it from their own perspective. I knew one of those teachers just like last Friday we were here. I had one come up and said, "Hey, I've got a doctor's appointment. What I need to do? Take a personal day or take a sick day, whatever you need to do." She's like, "I'll just reschedule." I get it. That's part of the day, just do that. Going back though to like the quiz bowl, the prom dates, I don't have a problem with that because I think that's just part of any 5-day school week. That's just typically you go and you work through those. I know the school that I come from, we had prom, it was a 5-day week, we had prom, we in school on prom day. Graduation was the same way. The quiz bowl, I've been talking to Ms. Hacker and Ms. Braun, we can work that out. Personally, I think there's nothing wrong, we can still make it work over to work with them on that thing. I don't have a personal problem with that. I honestly look at that and think that that's probably a toss up in the air. I mean, you're talking about one day compared to, like I said, right now we'd be done, what was that?
March
Somebody's
1st.
done it again.
March 1st would be
March
like a
1st.
day.
So you're still not talking about a whole lot there, so I would be probably open to working with them there since they've had on the calendar. But on the other total, I'm also the type of guy that's, hey, we can get it together, we can make it work. I think you make anything work, you just put your mind to it. But the selfish side of me is, I want to get it done. That's why I voted that way, just because I'd rather just get them behind me. The other side of me too is, I want this one. I have to go out at 6 o'clock on Friday, 5:30, 6 o'clock to be here. But it just goes with the territory. And I think that in life in general, I think we teach our kids right now that life in general is not always going to work the way that it's planned out and written out. We're going to have to make adaptations, and this is one of the ways that we teach those kids to make adaptations. And like she said, we're probably going to have to. We got kids that's got jobs. I'm going to be open to working with kids that's got jobs. You come talk to me, we're going to try to figure out something. I don't believe in giving you punished. And we're going to have kids that's going to take advantage of the fact that I'm not going to come to school, but they're also going to miss out on things. Just like they were going to typical school day. For me, like I say, this is my second half year going to a 4-day week. I go from the typical 5-day week, so I just kind of look at it in that aspect. So I'm in consensus that I would rather get them done and knock them out. I would show some grace, and you want me to on the quiz bowl thing, but I'm also going to go and tell you that I can make that work.
Ms. Jones, would, I didn't,
Sorry.
curriculum-wise and academic, which is absolutely everything, would you like to give your take on that too?
I
I
do want to
didn't.
mention, one of the things that came up sporadically when we've been to school, that Ms. Brian and I were talking, something that's come through about the testing, that's gonna happen in April. We're also gonna have to reconfigure. I think it's only been, she's allotted like 2 days for each grade to take the test. And we realized the other day that we're gonna have to go in and change some of that because the state now says we can only give one section a day, and the section has to start no later than 9:30. So in April, when we have to give all 3 parts, we have to give an ELA, math, and a science, we can only give one section a day. So prior years, you know, we've done things like we would do the reading and the science on one day, and the math and the grammar on another day. They're not gonna let us do that anymore. They said one section per day. So that's at least 3 days of testing for each grade. So we're talking about how are we gonna try and knock that out? I mean, obviously we can't string them along because we only had so long to do it. We may be testing 7, 8, 9 all in one day, all in 1 week. We're having to test all of them. We're not sure yet. But anyway, that is gonna add, we are gonna have to change the dates and the testing times a little bit on that.
So having more days
So
to
what
do
is
that in would be beneficial or less
It
beneficial?
would, and still the time to prepare, obviously. The more time our kids have in the classroom and their studies.
Prior to.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is also the first year, just to remind everybody, that we have not had AMI days. Just want to throw that out there. Like, when we were talking about the calendar last year, we had just found out that AMI days were not going to be a thing. So, I mean, obviously for next year's calendar, yes, we'll look at planning this differently. But yeah, we didn't really, we haven't seen, I don't know how many years it's been that we haven't had AMI days. A long time. Yeah.
Since COVID.
Yeah.
But they're going away and not coming back.
Right.
We
Well,
know.
as far as we
Yeah.
go.
I mean, and we all pretty much could
Well, then I
agree
think
that
this
there,
event
nobody,
probably brought them back. I mean, there was something I read, and I don't know how, might have been, I remember we talked about, I think it was us 4, that due to that snow event, that it brought up things like what are being talked about, and, but right off the bat, it got shot down a little bit. Now, that don't mean, like you just said, that it won't be something that'll be back on the table, and we'll deal with that as it comes. But no, this is the first year that in at least 4 that we haven't had that to fall back on also. But I would say that mine will be real short because I think all the points that are made are good. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot or anything, but when discussing the calendar back in the spring, one thing I go back, Miss Lee, I hope you don't care for me bringing your name up, but I heard what you said, and what I heard was our calendar, and you correct me if I'm wrong, say, no, that ain't what you heard, but that we were wasting days at the end. We needed to make them up as soon as possible for testing and academics, and then therefore, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think Jason said it. I was like, dang, we're going to go all these Friday. I mean, right there. I mean, you're human. You've been used to getting off Friday.
Yeah, I said if we missed one that week, any
Right.
day that week,
Yeah.
Make it up
Yeah.
that week.
Not
Yeah.
multiple Fridays, it was just. If we
Yeah.
got
Well,
4 days to get it
then
out,
after that, I misunderstood. Then I'll
it's in the
yeah.
notes.
But it's still in the thing. I heard what I'm hearing is I think what Miss Bradbury put it real well was that. If we do have another event and we adopt this as is tonight or whatever, then we're going to have another kind of hullabaloo, so to speak, of, well, now we've made this, but we're going to have to go back and plug them in anyway, that sort of thing. So saying all that to say this, the attack has been education and test scores. And, I'll take the heat. I've said that from day one, the letter grades. And we got people here in certain positions and things we're doing tonight, presentations for that very thing. So I see both sides of it, but I think that we need to stick with what we all originally thought was the original plan. My personal opinion is the principals put it the best. I can't say it any better than what they said it, but I think we are a host school for the Quiz Bowl event, which is a regional tournament qualifier for state for junior high. We were in a group message, and then Jason's had one-on-one talks with Ms. Havner and Ms. Braun. silly old, I'll say this to hopefully lighten the mood a little bit. Silly me, I said, hey, we'll have school, we'll fill up the stands, cheer for our quiz bowl team. We'll have a,
Yeah. Very quiet.
she shot it, she said, no, that won't work. I said, okay.
Yeah. We can only do that in the cafeteria.
So I say that to say this, going back to, I think it was Levi that first brought this up. March 4th is the first testing day. You heard what Ms. Jones said. Mr. Williams has said we make it work with Quiz Bowl and have a quiet setting if we come. So if that's the way we want to go, to really, we feel that's staying true. But I'm okay with that Friday. I don't know if I'm okay with skipping any other Fridays until we make them up, not knowing what's going to happen. And I hope and pray that we don't have to have that conversation anymore or whatever. But, and then my final point would be, we look at this, or y'all look at this again next year. Y'all got the calendar. We put that in your capable hands. It has changed a little bit. Miss Bennett was kind of overseeing. I mean, I have not questioned anything as far as the starting calendar. Whatever I've been brought, I brought to y'all, and that's what we approved. So I don't have any really reason to say, other than if we went back to what I did hear from Miss Lee, was that we just start AMI days, no AMI days, whatever. We just start throwing them all on the back end, because that's not a good look. You said it a while ago. Those are wasted days. Those are not make-up choices for schools that are trying to attack their letter grade and things like that. Whether it makes any difference or not, at least we're putting out the right front that we're trying to do it right. So ultimately, I am for either way with Quiz Bowl, based on what I've heard from my principals before tonight, and then again tonight. I would be for knocking them out as they come up on available Fridays.
I feel like if we're hosting Quiz Bowl, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I feel like they deserve a quiet building, and that's
Yeah.
what we should provide
Yeah,
for them.
I'm fine with that. Absolutely. Like I said, I threw myself out there as being ignorant and silly. I was going to have a pep rally, but
It'll be a quiet one.
we can do that, but we don't need to do it during the competition. So
Well, hey, I would say we could host a watch party, but if we did that on a Friday, I don't have a whole lot of confidence that a lot of people will show.
maybe not.
One more question people had about if we're making it up consecutive Fridays, are you guys going to be willing to, all these attendance incentives, if somebody has work or an appointment, are you going to be willing to say you're still part of that incentive because
Students?
Yeah.
No, you're not talking about faculty.
No, I'm talking about
yeah.
students.
Like if they had a doctor's appointment, it wouldn't be excused to make a day.
I'm willing to, I trust my principals to take that on a case-by-case basis. It's something that I think, I go back to the life lesson here, that this is stuff we all have to deal with. You have to make choices. Now, I mean, I don't want to get into what doctor's importance, but if it's something obviously that somebody has an ongoing, absolutely. And they said, because they made that effort already to put it on a Friday where they thought we wouldn't go.
Yeah.
You bet. And if they didn't approve that, I'll go so far as to say this: I don't think it'll bother either one of them. If it does, probably won't be the first or the last time. If they didn't approve that and they appeal that to me, that'll get taken care of. But now, in that same token, if it's a dental cleaning, and say, hey, it may be 3 more weeks before we can get you in. No, you need to come with everybody else. Does that make sense? So, yeah, but like, we can't get back in for 6 months, and it's a asthma breathing treatment. I don't know. Ken speaks to that a little bit, because every 6 weeks I have to have a treatment of some sort, and tomorrow's that day, and I have to take a sick day. And they're never on Fridays because he don't work on Friday. So that's just the way it is. It costs me a sick day every 6 weeks. But anyway, so I hope that everybody would have faith that we would take that, and we're going to err on the side of those kids that have made those efforts to be in attendance, to try to get them what's coming to them. That was the goal of it. But if it's just there can be ploys just to get out of, hey, I can still get the perfect attendance, but I might get me a day off if I got a certain kind of appointment. I think that's all part of the education process, the life lesson process. So that's my take. It's up, it ultimately, as everything does, the final decision lies with you guys.
Well, I'll say this, because I was a huge proponent of the 4-day week for many purposes. I didn't anticipate this ever being a problem, but a lot of times you don't realize problems until you went through it. And AMI days disappearing kind of has put us in a, I guess, a bad situation, although I think the consensus on AMI days was they were pretty much wasted too. I know,
Yeah,
what I can tell.
don't know
Yeah, I
that.
don't wanna go back to those.
Yeah, them going away does not hurt my feelings at all.
We just
So-
can't bank time because we're a 4-day school week.
Well, that's
some
my
other schools
question.
can add time on.
That's a great lead into the question I have, is that a possibility that maybe there's days or weeks during good weather that we go 5 days?
That is a possibility.
We're working on calendar.
For next
Something
year,
possibly for the
yeah.
And
PPC.
it's not, and I'll say this, and me and the principal, we talked about this, and we didn't get in depth with it, and I was gonna mention it to y'all at some point anyway. It's not a bad idea to maybe throw a Friday in every once in a while
Right.
in light of this.
Exactly.
Get a day ahead.
Yeah.
And then you might can get out early if you don't miss it.
Right.
Exactly, after.
Yeah.
This
after
brings up a lot
testing
of
is
ways to
over.
fix the issue,
You bet.
Right,
which is
for
where we're
next
headed
year.
with this, sounds
Yeah.
like, but
Might get
I'm
off
not
an extra
sure-
2 days at spring break if you make it 2. The Thursday and Friday before, not come back on the Monday and Tuesday.
I'm not
Bank
sure
'em.
if we get down and look at our minutes. It's not something I've done. If y'all have done it, some of you, I apologize, and you tell me that we might not be banking a little time, because you'll be surprised that when you get into when you're actually, and it might differ from building to building, but that's something we need to look at.
Karen and I looked at that one day, and it's because we're on a 4-day school week. Our day is defined as 7.5, right? And we just are not. Whereas 5-day school weeks, they can
Yeah,
add
you
10
can,
minutes on to either day.
we went too long per,
Yeah.
by the standard per day at other districts before. We
Yeah.
probably did it here, it never came up before we went to a
Right.
day. But when we would have big events, because we were made aware of that and then got to digging down in it, it saved us a day or two,
Yeah.
when you had bad weather. But I'm not saying it'll save us anything in this, but it is something we need to really get down and look at the math, because if you're going 10 extra minutes a day and you multiply that times, or 5 minutes, it adds up over a school year.
Yeah.
Where that might be a half a day, it might be it might save you a day. So, sounds like y'all already started
That's
down
an
that
option
road.
for next year.
But I think that, if you just tack 2.5 minutes onto the morning and 2.5 minutes onto the afternoon, to where you at least get to where you are banking a little time with a 4-day week. So, anyway, but that's all good discussion that this brings up, for development of the calendar, which y'all have already started, doing for next year. So, anyway.
Did you say March 1st would be the last?
March 1st, if you don't go on the quiz
If you
bowl
don't
day.
go on quiz,
We're looking at it, it shows, actually, it's not February 23rd.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, 'cause
showing,
we would move it up. We would move it up a Friday if we're
We've
going
made that.
consecutive.
Yeah, but you lost one here.
So it would be February.
I need another one.
I don't think you have the 19th because we went on the 19th already.
Right.
that's made
I
up.
had that on
Made that
there,
one
but.
up.
23rd.
Now we're back to 5.
What
Yes.
she's saying
So
is
this
the
one
March
was made up
1st one would
everybody's.
move up to the 23rd. If we
Yes.
go consecutively.
That's right.
So that's
Yeah.
1, 2,
Right.
3.
But if you take off the quiz bowl day,
That's still with a quiz ball day.
3 consecutive Fridays is all that's working.
well, better then, even
Yeah.
better.
Right?
Yeah, you're right, I
Talking
did
about
miss the
3
20
consecutive Fridays.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So it
Right
gives
now
us
we'd be done by
a
the
little
end of
bit bigger
February.
buffer.
Right.
Even
So
better.
right now, we'll
You
have
got a
all
1
five
day
of them
buffer
made up by-
instead of no buffer.
Yeah, by the 23rd.
Get rid of five if we have.
Right.
And it's still January.
So we are breaking a 3, as we stand, and yeah, we all know that we could
Crystal
be,
ball, how many more days we gonna have?
month of Fridays.
On the snow days, we don't know.
Hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it does, we have to, and this isn't something, I don't think anybody will want to, I would hope, for the rest of this year, and not talk calendar again until the one we adopt for next year, but, there's nothing says that I've been out of school over a month before. Everybody in here probably has before. Last one I think back to 2009, and the first year that me and Ashley ever worked at Salem, we went home for Christmas break and didn't go back till February. And of course, then you get into, will the state forgive some of those days or whatever. So we may have to come back and talk again in light of something?
We got
like
weeks
that?
earlier, in the year where we'll be off for a Monday on a holiday, right? What if we went that Friday, that's still a 4-day week because we got a holiday on that Monday. We just banked a day, did we not?
I think Labor Day is the only one.
But that's an extra, that's something you
Yeah,
ought to put in your, yeah, I think y'all talked about that last year, maybe.
4-day week.
Go ahead and go, I mean, it's nice.
Guys, and I tell you, hey, working every Friday, it ain't that bad. Okay? It ain't that bad. I do it every week. I can't tell that lie. I don't do it every week. We'll manage. We'll be all right. Well, I ain't going to.
I don't.
All right.
We can do it.
So, we need to vote,
Yeah. I say keep it like we got.
but concede on the quiz bowl day. Right?
Like that.
Yeah.
So we need to make amendment to the calendar to take off that Friday for the
I'll
quiz
just
bowl
make a
day.
recommendation, y'all do with it what you want. I recommend that you make up the days consecutive except for Quiz Bowl Day. We're out of school that day, and we miss accordingly from that point on.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to maintain the consecutive Friday makeup days minus February 2nd as the Quiz Bowl day. Go ahead and let that be a day off, a Friday off. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Yes.
I'm going to make an announcement to you all, and I apologize for this. Our white coat ceremony
Yes.
has been moved to this Wednesday, and it'll be Wednesday at 8:30. We are going to have it in the band room. We hope that all of you can make it as many as possible, but
Day after tomorrow, Wednesday.
yes, day after tomorrow, Wednesday. Their first day at internship is actually tomorrow, but we're doing the celebration for them. So it's 8:30.
8:30, where at?
Band room at the high school.
White coat ceremony, this Wednesday, 8:30 in the band room.
Correct.
Okay, moving on. Going down into item number 5, personnel, consider updated classified salary schedule.
This come up last board meeting, sent this out to y'all, it's in your packet too though. This is the recommendation of the new calendar that would encompass the 2 new employees that we hired last month. The tech coordinator is going to work at $25 an hour until July 1st. That is also added on here. And the district treasurer will be prorated off of that salary that is now reflected on the salary schedule. And I'll have I actually had the contracts for y'all to sign, but I didn't make it over here with them, but that's okay. But this would be the updated salary schedule. I will go, this could, we will look and visit this for everybody again, just like we always do in the spring, to do no change, some change, or all that, but to cover what y'all were, if there was a few concerns last month, this is the way it would be as of tonight, after you vote. So I recommend to you that you accept that.
So what districts are we reflecting this off of for a 58% increase on that position?
I'm not
How much
reflecting
should
it
we-
off any district other than.
Usually a salary, I thought the salary schedule before was kind of reflected off districts like our size.
They are.
Yeah.
Kathy was making $43,000 as an experience, but
Right, but that was with 28 years of experience, and that's, with 0 experience, that's 31, so that's almost a 58 increase, 58% increase.
yeah, that's what I feel the job's worth. And I mean, my bookkeepers have always been in line with teacher pay. That's what I offered Kathy to stay, with your approval, of course. That's what I offered every candidate that's what I told them that I would recommend.
LEARN's Act changed a whole lot of things for us as far as teacher salaries go, as we well know.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry, kid.
Well, LEARN's mandated it to where a teacher graduates college, with 0 years of experience goes into the classroom year one at $50,000 entry level. I'm not going to be one to get into this position, that position, worth more than that one, this, but I don't see the district treasurer that's responsible for overseeing a multi-million-dollar budget for the entire school district with 23 years experience in finance not being the equivalent.
I
But,
don't agree. I agree with that, but a brand new person that with 0 experience and 0 college education, I don't feel like should be making what a master level teacher makes.
They don't have to have a master's to make 50,000 entry level.
Any teacher then with college education.
We're not hiring somebody with 0 experience, are we?
She doesn't have any district experience.
not,
She has
she
banking.
doesn't have any district or school district experience, no, but
But
I mean, she's not out of high school. I mean, she's been working at a bank for,
23 years.
yeah.
23 years.
And the answer to the other question is, yeah, we do try to be comparative and competitive
I thought we did.
with other districts, but, and I think that if this would probably move us to part of the higher scale of bookkeepers for our size, but it wouldn't be far off what some of them are making if I did the numbers on that.
So what's gonna be the steps off of this?
There are no steps.
That's it.
So they'll never get a raise, never, I mean, that's where they'll stay at.
That it could be just like teachers. If I say we're gonna do a 2% raise across the board and classified, on the classified salary schedule, their new salary would reflect that and go into that spot where it says 50,000 right now. No different than it's ever been.
So compared to the last year's, the only thing that's changed is the 50,000 on district treasurer and the tech coordinator.
Yeah, the tech coordinator is a new position.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like if we do this, we're gonna have to change everybody.
You don't. But I hope to. Always hoping to up everybody's pay. I'll say one more thing before, and then y'all, like I said, I'll answer any more questions or whatever you want. Every position on the campus is valuable. There's no doubt this is one of the most valuable. We're losing a really good person.
I make the motion to adopt the classified salary schedule as attached.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to accept the classified salary schedule as attached. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
3, 4, 2 against. Motion passes. All right, at this time, we are going to insert an executive session to talk about personnel, including the superintendent's contract. Starting at 5:50.
First office on the right.
I will. First on your tenant contract or?
First time is so next one here, right here.
Call meeting back to order at 8:56. Apologize for the lengthy time. There are new things for our superintendent contract was determined by the ASBA, the state. So it took lengthy discussion, but we are moving on to consider the superintendent's contract. I make a motion that we roll that contract over, per usual, with the addendums of our performance targets.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we continue the superintendent's contract rollover. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Three ayes, 2 nays. Motion passes. Next up is per our state audit, they did find that Mr. Lane had been charged 8 sick days that he did not use.
No,
So-
no. I never was given.
He was never accredited.
I never had them on my, they never gave them to me. I never had
He
them.
never got credited 8 sick days, and it's required in our minutes that we make a motion and to correct that per the state audit. I need a motion and a
I'll make
second.
that motion.
It's been moved by Mr. Moody,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. McGowan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
100.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
We gotta do the interactive
Gotta do
thing.
that.
No, I
Oh,
told
we
them we would.
pulled off?
We could
Okay.
redo that if we were in there past 8:30. So we'll reschedule that.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.